What's going on, you guys? Fost here, and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth Shaco jungle guide. Shaco got the most votes alongside Jax, so on a tie, I'm just gonna do both. So here we are doing a Shaco guide. Now, the Shaco guide will include builds for both AD and AP Shaco. However, the AD Shaco currently, as of this guide being made, isn't as good as AP Shaco. AP Shaco is mainly played as a control mage, but actually has a very good amount of damage output when it comes to just team fights in general. Playing AD Shaco, you kind of do a partial amount of the damage. You do snowball harder, so if you can get a lead on that version of Shaco, then you're most likely to just snowball the game, but it's completely up to what you prefer. I personally prefer AP Shaco since it more suits my playstyle Shaco wise, I'd say, but AD Shaco still is going to be included in the builds as well. So with that being said, let's just get right into the runes. Now, let's start off with the AP Shaco one. It's Dark Harvest is the best one on AP Shaco. Even Dark Harvest can be used on AD Shaco as well if you are certain that you can get ahead and that you will snowball, because Dark Harvest procs really nicely with Shaco's Execute on a Shiv. Or just in general, if you're going for AD Shaco and you just crit somebody, then it will also proc and you can definitely just one-shot them. So yeah, Dark Harvest is by far the option here. And then for this, you want to get into Cheap Shot on the AP version. The reason you want Cheap Shot on the AP one is simply because Sudden Impact doesn't really help you all that much on AP Shaco. 6 Magic Pen, I mean, it's okay for 5 seconds. Usually on AP Shaco, however, you prolong these and you get these procs on Cheap Shot a little bit easier. It's like a both can work. I just have noticed that Cheap Shot helps me out a little bit more in a lot of situations. You will impair the movement on champions really easily, and this will just proc a little bit more, then it will provide more damage. For AD Shaco, however, then Sudden Impact is just better for the lethality, simply because, well, you're trying to go in and just insta-kill somebody, really. That's your goal, so it will help there. But yeah, for AP Shaco, Cheap Shot, and then for this one, it's mainly Eyeball Collection. You can go Zombie Ward as well if you're clearing enough wards. However, this usually isn't the case, especially lower elos. So Eyeball Collection is more all-around. Now, for the AP version, you definitely want to go Ultimate Hunter. The reason is because, well, your ultimate, your clone, helps a lot on AP Shaco, so you definitely need to have that up as much as you possibly can. You can use it to, like, well, juke people out, but mainly those boxes do a lot of damage. The explosion does a good amount of damage. It just overall adds a good amount of extra damage to your kit and a good amount of extra control mage ability. So that's really why you want Ultimate Hunter. Now, for AP version, the secondary tree is pretty much always Inspiration on both, because the AP variant is played with the Perfect Timing and the Cosmic Insight. The Cosmic Insight is to get that 45% CDR. This is really good on AP Shaco because you need to get those boxes up as much as possible, and also the ultimate to a lowest cooldown possible. Like, everything there is just essential to have that on the lowest cooldown so you can use it more often to be more annoying, really, and to also do more damage in the process. So that's really what you're looking for. And then just Stopwatch is simply because the this actually helps a lot. The stasis effect, it can help you out in situations where you could get killed or you could get engaged on. You can pop a Stopwatch and maybe even use the Zonias later on if you were to build that. The other option is Magical Footwear. It's not bad. You can definitely still pick this up. However, though, over playing multiple games on the, like, Shaco, really, I just tended to prefer the Stopwatch for the extra, like, stasis effect. You get it pretty quickly, so that's really that. And for AP Shaco, those are the runes. Now, on this section here on AP Shaco, it depends on what boots you want to build. You can build either CDR boots, or you can build Sorks, or like the Magic Pen boots. If you are building the CDR boots, then you can just go double Adaptive Force. If you are not building the CDR boots, I recommend building the CDR here. So this will mean that you still get the 45% CDR, but then with Sorks, with the 18 extra Magic Pen from it, you get extra damage from that. So what I do is, I actually, in a lot of games these days, I build the CDR here and then build Sorks. However, if I'm actually playing to be a control mage and to just, like, have that going for me, then I want the extra adaptive And then I'll just pick up the CDR boots, so I will have my CDR faster, so I can be more annoying at that stage. So it's really up to your playstyle, honestly. It's what you prefer when it comes to this, but however, if you are picking Strix, then get this. And if you are picking CDR boots, then get the Adaptive Force. Because if you pick Adaptive Force and then go Strix, I mean, it's fine and all. You don't need the extra Adaptive Force here in your clear, because the clear for AD Shaco involves just getting attack speed anyway. And the boxes will still do a perfect amount of damage to be fine, so you don't need this Adaptive Force to help with that. So it's like, you have this and you don't need this. So you can still pick up the CDR and not really lose anything for it on AP Shaco. And that's really the thing there. Now for AD Shaco, there's a couple things you have to change, but the overall layout is the same. So as I mentioned, AD Shaco, you want to go attack speed here, simply because you are auto-attacking more, you're getting more involved on that front, and yeah, that's really that. And then here you want to pick up Hill of Blades. This is the more consistent rune for AD Shaco. This also procs really well, because if you auto-attack somebody first, and then your clone is going to copy the stats that you have with Hill of Blades activated. So you gain 110% extra attack speed, and your clone will then replicate and hold the 110% extra attack speed. So the ideal situation is for Hill of Blades to do it, is you walk up in your queue, then you crit someone in the back, and then you just instantly, after hitting that once, you press ultimate, and then your clone is just gonna have the permanent attack speed from Hill of Blades that way. So that's why this is a really, really good rune. Also, Hill of Blades synergizes really well with the Bro's Velocity that you pick up on this rune as well, because Shaco's auto attacks have pretty much a permanent built-in slow if you keep hitting them. So the approach makes sure that you can stick to those targets. And this is actually disgusting, because if you hit them once, they're never going to get away from you, simply because that 15% extra movement speed does so much to help you out. You slow them, and then at the same time, you get the extra move speed here, which is immense. Now, also because you are building Tiamat on Shaco, on AD Shaco mainly, of course, you want to get Futures Market because you want to get into that as fast as possible. So that's really the setup here. This helps you stick to targets incredibly well, and this is to just pick up your items a little bit faster, mainly your Tiamat, since that's an essential item. Now here, again, AD Shaco, I would advise Sudden Impact, since it's a little bit more useful to have that 7 lethality. It scales pretty well alongside Duskblade and everything, and it actually is very useful since you are going in and just going for a one-shot instead of a control-based playstyle. So then Sudden Impact becomes more useful. Now for the same reason as you pick up Approach, it's kind of, you need to get in range of the targets that you're hitting. So the main rune here that changes is the Relentless Hunter. Instead of the Ultimate Hunter, you do not need your ultimate as much on AD Shaco, because you're not as reliant on the control damage from the AP variant from your ultimate. So just having the extra move speed and being able to queue and then run a bigger distance or close a bigger gap or get in a better position to hit someone in the back is more important. So Relentless Hunter will help you more when it comes to AD Shaco. And yeah, this is pretty much it for the runes for Shaco. If you guys have any questions, do make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll try my best to answer those questions for you. And let's just get right into the item build now. Alright, so for the item build, we have the Hunter's Talisman start. This is the start on both AP and AD Shaco. And then for the AP version, you want to get a refillable potion, and for the AD version, you want to get a rejuvenation bead. Now, the reason you want to get a rejuvenation bead is simple. You want to get your Tiamat as fast as possible, and this builds into Tiamat for AD Shaco right here. So this will save you 150 gold towards this, and then alongside your Futures Market, it's pretty much going to mean that you could pick up a Tiamat every single time on your first base. You might wonder, am I going to be able to sustain? Yes, you will be completely fine. You do not even need the refillable potion on AP Shaco. You do not even need any sustain really on Shaco. If you use your boxes properly and set everything up properly, as you will see in the gameplay later on, then there is no problem at all. You will easily be able to sustain, and you will have no problems coming out of your jungle clear at full HP level 4 at pretty much 3 minute 25-ish when you finish the Skull Crab. So there's really no issues. You can definitely get away with this really easily, and for AD Shaco, this is crucial to pick up the beat and then go into Tiamat, because this is what's going to provide you your clear speed later on. Now, let's get into the AD build first, since this is way more linear and is going to be done a lot quicker, let's say. So for AD Shaco, after a Tiamat, your main item is just to want to get the Berserker Greaves. The reason you want these boots is the attack speed helps a lot with your additional jungle clear as well, because you don't have the boxes on AD Shaco to help you with more of a jungle clear. You need to do the damage yourself, so Tiamat helps, but then also getting more auto attacks in to Tiamat proc more often is going to help as well. And then also picking up tier 2 boots this quickly synergizes really well with the fact that you need to get into those positions behind the people that you're trying to assassinate with your Q to get those crits off, and that's really what you're looking for. So having that quick mobility is really useful, and also this helps with the attack speed for your jungle clear speed. So that's really the option for AD Shaco. Now going from there, this build is very linear. The main item you want to get is Duskblade. Duskblade is very, very good. It has 21 built-in lethality, which is amazing. And then the Nightstalker passive is easily procced. Of course, you can proc it going into your Q. And then as soon as you press ultimate again, you pretty much are unseen again for a little bit of time. And then again, you proc it and it just does a lot of damage. So it's the same concept. You go in with Q, walk up, hit him once, and then proc ultimate, and then hit again, and then your Hill of Blades will also be procced on your clone, so it just has a lot of damage that way. So you can quickly burst people down with this setup from a really early stage. And also if you get to the Duskblade really quickly, so if you get early kills, then you are going to be able to snowball very easily because you're just going to one-shot people left and right without too many issues. Now going on from a Duskblade, this is the only real lethality item you're building if you are doing well. Now if you're doing poorly, then you can still just keep building lethality items if you want, since this will provide you a little bit more if you are not having the greatest game. So you can then pick up Edge of Night or just like an Umbral Glaive. Just lethality items will work. You're not going to do as much damage as with a crit build, which does scale better and does provide more eventual one-shot potential, really. But if you are doing really poorly or just not having a great game on AD Shaco, then you can just build lethality and try to do the biggest damage or as much damage as you can. So with that being said, the follow-up item after Duskblade is the Infinity Edge and the Essence Reaver. Now, the order in which you pick these up is completely up to you. Some Shaco mains, some people prefer to pick up Infinity Edge first, since it will provide you to do a little bit more damage with the increased critical strikes, and of course you have more attack damage in the Infinity Edge than you do in the Essence Reaver, as you can see. 70 to the 80 of Infinity Edge, I do believe it is, yep. So it's really up to you when it comes to that. The only thing that Essence Reaver has over Infinity Edge is, of course, the 20% CDR, which is obviously very, very nice. Just having CDR extra on Shaco is very good. And that's why people prefer Essence Reaver over Infinity Edge, and the Infinity Edge just provides more damage. It's completely up to you. It's up to you what you prefer playing with. Personally, I do prefer on AD Shaco to go for Infinity Edge straight away, since I do like the extra added burst damage. And I also find this to snowball better. So if you get a lead and then build into an Infinity Edge first, you actually snowball better because you just do more damage and you're going to just one-shot people a lot easier. So that's really why I prefer the Infinity Edge, and then build Essence Reaver after to still get the eventual, of course, CDR and just the extra added damage to it. Now, a backstab is guaranteed to crit, so if you come out of your queue and just hit someone in the back, you're going to crit them, so you don't really have to worry too much about crit chance. Now, obviously, if you're starting to auto-attack more often at some point in the game, and also your clones, then crit chance is going to help more, but initially, you're pretty much guaranteed to fully crit somebody with an Infinity Edge, so it's always going to proc, and that's really like a good thing, honestly. Now, going on from here, I've noticed that in pretty much every single game for AD Shaco at this point, you do have to build a Dominic's Regards or the Mortal Reminder. So if they have healing or anything like that, like Kane's, Vladimir's, all that type of stuff, Mortal Reminder is better. However, in any other situation, whether just tanky or whatever, 35% armor pen is better than the armor pen this gives. So it's 10% extra armor pen. It's worth quite a lot. So yeah, this is pretty much essential. You kind of have to build this because at this stage in the game, as soon as someone builds like Ninja Tabai or just any type of armor item like a Guardian Angel or something, you're going to notice your damage drop off really, really fast. So it's pretty much guaranteed that you need one of these to make sure that your damage still goes through. And that's why you really want to just get that. And yeah, so get one of the armor pen items and you should be good. Now, to finish off a build like this, as you can see, this is already has this is a 5-item build with Tiamat. Now, you can upgrade your Tiamat into the Titanic version. Now, you might ask, why Titanic Hydra? This is quite simple, simply because you can go in and then proc something, And then, of course, you have Hail of Blades, but Titanic Hydra instantly gives you another auto attack as well. So it's an optional upgrade that you can go for if you want. It's very effective, simply because the extra proc is an instant extra auto attack if you just time it properly, and it's just going to be very effective that way. Other viable items to like replace a Tiamat if you want to are, of course, more crit items. You can go for like a Phantom Dancer, or you might even pick up a Storm Razor, or just whatever you prefer. Usually, if I were to pick something, I'd pick a Phantom Dancer simply because this provides me an extra shield, which is an extra survivability tool. However, usually getting to this stage of the game is already very rare, honestly, because if you get to the snowballing part of building an Infinity Edge, and then the game is pretty much over once you reach Essence Reaver. In most games, I will just pick up Titanic simply because it provides a little bit of extra HP, but that extra instant auto attack does quite a significant amount. And otherwise, you can just go build crit items. You can even build Storm Razor, do anything you want here. Storm Razor also provides with 25% crit chance. Additional attack damage as well, which is really, really nice. So this is a very viable item to replace the Tiamat if you want to. It's going to give you 75% crit chance, a good amount of extra AD, and overall, like, just a solid item. So this is pretty much it for AD Shaco. If you have questions on AD Shaco, make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those for you, and I'm just going to go for the AP build now. Alright, so for the AP Shaco build, we have, of course, the same start, kind of Hunter's Talisman, refillable potion. You do not necessarily need the refillable potion. You can also start with like a double pink ward if you want. The extra sustain from this you don't need, because your jungle clear is very healthy regardless, so up to you, but refillable is usually what I take, just so I can have a little bit of extra HP when trying to 1v1 the enemy jungler, or maybe if I'm going for a gank, having the extra HP that refillable will provide you then is going to be pretty nice. So that could be an option there. Now, as AP Shaco, you want to build the Blue Smite Stalkers as fast as possible. Runic Echoes, I mean, it is a very valuable item on AP Shaco. The proc does a lot of damage. You have extra AP. This item honestly is just overloaded. If you're playing anything AP jungle, you should probably pick this up in 99% of cases because it's just such a good item. It helps with mana sustain as well. Overall, it's just the item you want to go for. So that's really like no debate there. Now for Shaco, again, what I just mentioned earlier, you have for the AP variant, of course, you have either the CDR boots or the Sorks. This is personal preference, honestly. This is a bit like more CDR focused, so you can definitely get your capped CDR a lot faster. And this is going to be better for a more control-based style. However, if you're going for a more burst-based style, then you can get Sorks. This will help you if you're snowballing, of course, because you're pretty much, if you get 18 magic penetration and, for example, combine this with like an Oblivion Orb, if you're the only AP target or like the only AP damage source on your team, you can pick up Sorks, get an Oblivion Orb, and then you're pretty much dealing true damage to most of their team unless they're starting to build magic resist. However, if you're the only AP source, then it's very rare for them to actually build magic resist and build it quickly. So we're going to do true damage, and a true damage like AP Shaco, just an ultimate alone can insta-kill an ADC. So just a completely true damage ultimate with a proc and the boxes and everything, the ADC dies. Like, it does so much damage dealing true damage with Shaco. Like, the AoE damage from all his boxes is just immense. So if you're going for it, if you are the only AP source on your team, then Sorks is definitely worth it. However, if you just want to play control-based, then, I mean, CDR boots. Again, this is personal preference, but do pick up the rune that goes along with them, as I mentioned earlier. Now, for your first main item on Shaco, there are 3 options, and all 3 are viable, and it just depends on, honestly, what you prefer and your playstyle. So you have the Hextech Proto Belt. Now, the Proto Belt is mainly for the extra burst damage. The dash you can use is obviously very nice as well. It does proc Dark Harvest too, so you can just you can come in behind someone really close and hit him with an auto attack, slow them at that point, hit him with a Proto Belt, and then hit him with your E. Proto Belt hits multiple bolts, the E will land, Dark Harvest will proc, and you have a very good chance of one-shotting somebody, especially if you have the additional magic penetration. So it's really a burst type of setup with Proto Belt, and yeah, that's really it for that one. Now, the other option pretty much builds out of the same item, so you can still decide if you would want to. It builds out of Hextech Revolver. Now, the only awkward thing here is Lost Chapter on Jungle Shaco. Not that amazing, but this item itself is. So just build this first in any case, and you can still decide if you want to. If you're snowballing, then usually Hextech Proto Belt is actually better to like emphasize on the snowballing, if you know what I'm saying. So it will snowball a little bit harder than the Glacial one will, or Hextech GLP will, anyway. So the Hextech GLP is mainly a control-based thing. So if you're going for a control, like a very control-based early game CDR type of setup with these iodium boots for CDR, and then this will give you 20% CDR as well. And then I hate the fact that it doesn't show up here. As you can see, the item gains an additional 10% CDR. So it has 10% built in, gains another 10, so you get 20%, pretty much instantly capping you to 40%. Or, yeah, well, yeah, depends on if you have the rune or the boots, of course. But this is obviously very good. It has the slowing effect, so you can slow people, make them stuck in your boxes a lot easier, and everything like that. It's a very, very valuable item. And yeah, that's completely there. And the last one you can pick up first is Gnasher's Tooth. And Gnasher's Tooth does the same thing and also have 20% CDR. So you're pretty much instantly capped on CDR depending on your build setup. And if you have blue buff or not or whatever, it's just overall. Now, Gnasher's Tooth is the best thing when it comes to objective control and clearing your jungle camps. So if you are prioritizing a game where you need to clear your camps better and then also have better objective control, let's say there are not really any gank opportunities, so your lanes have more prio. Whatever this may be, your mid lane and just all your lanes are pushed up, or most of your lanes are pushed up and the other lane is not gankable really, then Gnasher's Tooth becomes a very valuable pickup simply because it clears faster, it has better Dragon and Rift Herald control and just objective control in general, and if you have the pressure from your teammates, then being able to invade with Gnasher's Tooth and just clear their camps quicker is actually going to deny the enemy jungler at that point more. And obviously Gnasher's Tooth as well is going to be very good in just like fighting situations because you and your clone will proc this Gnasher's Tooth, basically dealing a lot of additional damage every auto attack. And attack speed is really not bad on Shaco either way. So it's a very valuable item then. It just depends on the game situation. So if you have a situations where you have a lot of prio or your lanes are doing very well, then you can go Gnasher's Tooth and abuse the enemy jungler and have better control over the objectives. So that's an objective, like that's why you want to pick Gnasher's in those types of situations. It provides better jungle clear and at that same time better invade potential and everything. So those are the first, like the three first items you can pick up. Now, no matter what item you pick up first here, the next item is always going to be Liandry's pretty much. There's really no other situation where you would pick up anything else. Liandry's is just really, really, really strong on AP Shaco. You proc the effect very easily for the extra damage with your boxes and everything in the slows you have. So you're no problem getting the additional burst damage with this. And this just skyrockets your damage by a lot, like a lot. So this is always going to be an item after these three. So just whatever situation, and then you go into Liandry's. Now, going from Liandry's, you have a variable amount, like a lot of options, honestly. You can go Zonias if you need extra survivability. You have Void Staff if you need extra magic penetration. You can go Death Cap if you need, like, or if you can just, like, need a higher AP value that will be more useful. You can go Healing Reduction if you still want to. You can, like, Morello is going to be very good into, like, obviously those healing champions like Kayn, Vladimir, all that type of stuff. Like preventing their healing is going to be very, very good. And of course, the extra magic pen you can get from this alongside obviously the Oblivion Orb. If you were to pick this up early or like with a Proto Belt combination, pick this up and then deal true damage and then go Liandry's and finish Morello maybe for healing reduction or whatever you're doing, then that's obviously a viable choice, but it's up to the healing factor only really. Another option is Banshees. This prevents you from getting a one-shot. So you go in, you hit someone, you ult, and then the ultimate, you have an extra like chance to live, and then also just to survive the fact that your clone's gonna explode and everything. So the survivability here is nice. Zonias pretty much provides the same aspect in that, like when it comes to that, but that's really up to what you prefer, I suppose, or what the enemy has. So if the enemy has those like deadly one skill type of things that you need to block, for example, a Nautilus ultimate, or just any targeted stuff that you definitely do not want to get hit by, Banshees is definitely your friend there. Yeah, that's really for that. I'd say that's pretty much all the items that I had to go over. Other items on AP Shaco I'm really not that recommend. Or actually, one more thing that I do want to mention about Magi's. It can be good. Picking up a Dark Seal early game, like let's say you do not have a specific amount of gold to finish your jungle item and you have enough gold for like a dark seal, then you can definitely pick this up, because if this stacks and if you then pick up a Magice, you can quite easily snowball through a game really quickly, because Magice is just very strong. So let's say you get the Dark Seal early and then pick up a Magice with like a Proto Belt to snowball better, and then this setup right here alone with the magic penetration you could get is just gonna have you so much AP, so much damage, you're just gonna delete people left and right, and it's just a very snowball heavy AP setup you could go for. So if you went AP Shaco and you're starting to notice you're snowballing, you could do this if you want to. However, Magice, if you die, you lose 10 stacks, so you definitely need to be careful about that one. So definitely that, still want to mention, and I'm pretty sure this is it for Shaco. If you guys have any questions on like anything I've mentioned so far, please make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you, and let's just get right into the gameplay section now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I'm playing Shaco, of course, into a Kayn, which honestly isn't that bad of a matchup. However, Kayn does have a lot of clear speed that can go for him, and you could get out farmed quite easily simply because Shaco's clear speed isn't all that great. You're looking to more pressure gank. You can definitely still play invade style if you do have the lane BRIO, so you can definitely start to take Kayn's camps in this specific situation, but that's all up to the game, of course, itself. You're looking to pressure as much as possible simply because your jungle clear speed isn't that great, and honestly, in my opinion, definitely needs a little bit of a buff, not gonna lie, but yeah, just try to pressure as much as you can. Now, Shaco's start, we're gonna go through this very slowly because it's very specific and it's something you definitely need to know. So initially, when you go and start a game, you can just run up to here and place a box here as fast as possible. This box pretty much provides you the information if you're going to invade. You're going to pretty much deter them from invading, and your team will be able to respond or react to whatever. So this box, just place it early. You have plenty of time because the first box you need to place is at 50 seconds. You can also do 51 seconds, but 50 seconds is a good time anyway. So right, so for the clear, you're gonna set up your boxes on Raptors and one on red, and then you're gonna do these 3 camps in a row really quickly, and then go to your top side, do Wolves blue, and then at the same time when Scuttle spawns, you'll be there to clear it, hitting you level 4. So the clear doesn't change for this side. You can do the start here as well and then clear up the same way. The box placement is about the same, but I'll talk about that as well. Now you can, of course, if they invade and fuck up like your box setup, if that happens, then you do need a leash. If that doesn't happen, then you're fine without a leash. So if that happens, you just place whatever boxes you can still manage on whatever buff, and then just, in that case, I tend to prefer to just buff clear. So I go from buff to like gromp, and then look for pressure that way. So if my boxes do get fucked up that way, then I can definitely look for early pressure that way. Since setting up boxes and doing those AoE camps is then going to be more of a pain in the ass. And you can, yeah. So, however, you can still, if you want to, go for a clear then. So you can start like red and then go over the wall and still do Crocs the normal way you would have done them anyway. And then do Raptors if you want, but it's like a full clear mechanic that you can still do. However, it's better if you just full clear with a box setup. And I've noticed that people don't really invade the Shaco to fuck up your boxes anyway, so you should be fine regardless. So the setup here, as you can see, the moment it hit 50 seconds on this side of the map, you see this little thing right here. You see it? Right on this spot, where the tip of my cursor is, right here is where you're going to place your first box. You'll see me do in a second here at 50 seconds, because there you go, boxes last 40 seconds and the camp spawns at 130, so you're pretty much going to have perfect timing and your box is not going to disappear. If you're scared of your box disappearing, do it at 51 seconds, then you're always going to be fine, but you're fine if you just place it at 50. If you place it at 49, then rip your box, but that's up to you, and then you just made a mistake. You can easily practice this clear in practice tool without any issues, because you don't need anyone to help you with it. Now, the second box that you want to place is right where your mouse cursor is, right here. So you see these 3 scratches on the floor, pick up the bottom one and just put the tip of your mouse cursor there, put the box there, and your box is going to bounce back a little bit and be put like right here-ish, and this should help you clear your camp. As you can see right now, right here is where I place it. See the box, and it bounces back a little bit, and as you can see, this has the entire camp covered, no problem. And then for the red one on this side, you want to place it right here. Like you can place it right on the edge of this. and that's going to be good placement for your box. It's going to be out of range from the red buff, and then your red buff will kind of get kited into it, as you'll see later. So you can see me place the box at about here in just a second. As you see, box right there. Red spawns, and then right as this spawns, as you can see, the box is still alive for a second. The camp spawns, and it's instantly going to get procced, so the box doesn't disappear. Oh, sorry, that was a little bit fast, my bad. So we're doing this slowly, all normal speed. So right here, as you can see, the box procs here, and then your boxes are pretty much gonna kill all of the small ones, and all you want to do is hit the big one. So make sure you keep auto attacking the big one. As you can see, all the small ones die to the talisman burn that you had from your boxes. So this camp dies pretty much instantly 10 seconds in. You can then pick up your Q instantly after, and then Q deceive over this wall, crit this guy in the back, and then place your box down as well. As you can see here, hit him in the back, get a crit, then the box procs, and then the box procs, like the fear kites him into the other box, gets feared again, so the fear duration is increased, and then he takes a lot of damage this way. Now the ideal situation is he would then hit the box there. I think I stepped a little bit too close there, that's my bad, this one, but usually you would save like 2 auto attacks from not getting hit and hitting your box there. But just try to backstab him as much as possible, kite around it, and that's really all you want to like really do. Then you deceive over the wall to your croc camp, place the box here, crit this guy in the back, just hit it, and you want to smite the big one, kill the big one as fast as you possibly can, simply because this does the most damage out of anything really. And yeah, right there, you kill it. Then you get all of these low, like you just hit these. It doesn't matter if this dies or not, it's whatever. Your box is easily gonna take care of this. So you just get these low, and then right as this is about low enough, as you see, I didn't kill everything, I just leave. And the box will finish off most of these. If it doesn't finish off like 1 or 2, it's whatever. But as you can see, in the time that I dashed away, I think I might have missed one, as you see, with 11 minions. Or actually, no, it died now. So you're good anyway, but sometimes you miss one. It's not the end of the world. Missing 1 or 2 doesn't make a difference in your level up. It does make a difference in CS count by 1 and by a tiny amount of gold, but it's not noticeable at all. So you just deceive away, it saves you a couple seconds. You get to the wolf, you pretty much just do the same. You place a box, you jump with Q, you crit it in the back, and then you just focus the big one down as fast as you possibly can. Just try to backstab him wherever you can, use your E and everything, and then as soon as it gets low enough, you can auto attack both the small ones once, and then they will die off of the burn damage. Now, going on, you deceive over again, and then you place the box behind the blue and just start hitting the blue. You can do this as fast as possible. You can smite it if you want. You don't have to smite it. You can also smite the scuttle if you want. Usually, I just tend to prefer to smite this, simply because you can place a box that will greatly reduce the magic resist from the scuttle. And as you see, by the way, there, I let the blue die to red burn mainly, so I save a little extra second here. So pretty much, the crab spawns at 315. You can get there at 315, but usually you get there about like this time, right? As you can see, it's a pretty consistent clear. You're never going to get there much later than this, so you can instantly do the scuttle crab as it spawns. All you have to do right now is just place a box and just guide the scuttle into the box sphere, and as you can see, the scuttle dies really quickly, no problems here. Now at this stage, you can do a couple of things, of course. You can look for a top lane gank, which could be viable in this situation. However, as you can see, my Rise is very low and the Jax is full HP. This gank is really not going to work. The Syndra, however, has my Z low. However, she doesn't really have any mana. So if she pushes out a little bit, then this is a viable gank I could go for. So that's an option there. But also what I know is a lot of game players start their Raptors, or at least like whatever, close to the Raptors. The ideal situation, by the way, if you can manage it for AP Shaco's jungle pathing, is you clear this, do a gank mid lane. That's ideal situation. Of course, if the gank top lane is freer, then go for that. But if you can gank mid lane, that's ideal. Simply because, as you can see, this Raptor camp right now is respawning. So with this respawning, is you can go gank mid, and then instantly, after the gank, maybe help push out the wave, get a little bit of experience, get the whatever flashes, whatever happens, mid lane happens. But then you can move on to do this camp instantly afterwards. And this camp into this camp will spawn then as well on time. And then you can back level 5 with like a good clear going and play from there, really. So that's the options you have. Now in this case, I was looking for maybe a gank here. I do think, like right here, I kind of figured he would start his Raptor. So he kind of started the same way I did, which means that his Raptors would spawn at about the same time mine would. And then I could just take his, which is also a fine play. As you can see, just whatever, place the box down. Focus the big one wherever you can, and you should be good. try to just keep the burn going on most of the small ones. You should be fine there. I'm kind of just stalling time at this point for this Syndra to, again, what I just mentioned earlier, push up the wave a little bit. Since she doesn't have any mana, she doesn't really have any retaliation process and anything to do. So that's really what I'm looking for in this aspect. So I'm looking for the gank here. I'm not sure where Kayn is at this moment, but I'm just going to go over. She doesn't have much mana. I could just place a box behind her. Without any mana, she's not going to be able to do much. I did misplace my box just a tiny amount. I had to place it a little bit forward because I barely placed it in the turret range and the turret hit my box, which is a very unfortunate part for me. So that's a misplay on my part. But in this case, the Kayn hits me and the Syndra simply just flash ignites me, and that's just a little bit awkward. However, I do ignite the Kayn in return. He takes a turret shot and then Zed kills the Kayn. So honestly, it's fine. The Syndra used both flash and ignite. And my Zed still has his ignite, so he could definitely make a play off that later. But my box placement there was the most unfortunate part. Simply because it just got hit by the turret. So that's a little bit of a mistake there. But let's say this gank would have worked out right. Then I would have just been able to do this camp and then this camp right afterwards. Not sure why the spawn timers aren't showing up or why it's not showing up for the thingy. Might be a practice tool bug or not practice tool, a replay bug, but yeah. Now sadly Zed gets killed here, which instantly just tells me I just have to make it to mid lane as fast as I can to still pick up some of the experience here. So I'm just gonna go and take up some CS here, and then I can go for the clear downwards, so I can just go over the wall with Deceive and then just clear this camp with a box. Now, optional maxing order for Shaco. It's obviously level 1 W, level 2 Q, because it's what you need for your clear. Level 3 is E, simply for like ganks, and also helps you with your clear. Going from there to level 5, you have two options. You can either just put points into your shiv, if you're opting to gank and pressure, or if the game is a bit more of a stalemate, and you just have the pressure, you have, like, all your lanes are pushed in, ganks are difficult, you're looking more towards objective control and then farming, you want to put the points into your W. So put, until level 5, 3 points into W, and if the game really is a stalemate, you can always still max your W first, but usually 3 points into your W will be more than enough to clear most camps with just one box at an efficient rate. So what you would do then in a non-aggressive game where you really cannot gank too effectively and you're going to focus more around clearing and getting like the gold that way and denying the enemy jungler his camps, just put 3 points into your W over putting the points into your E. That's just for clearing purposes, because if you put all the points into your E, which is nice for ganking and all, but for a W it's not really ideal. And I found that like 1 point in your W, when you put it to 2 points, not that ideal either. Usually 3 points is the sweet spot to where your camps die quick enough for it to be effective. Now, right here, again, this is really annoying, but I see Kayn top lane level 425 CS. I instantly assume, by the fact that I saw him earlier at the ward that I placed, that he cleared his top side, and that his bot side camps would be up. So I'm gonna assume that I'm just gonna be able to go into his jungle, and right here pop my sweeper, deceive over the wall in to save myself some time, and I'm just gonna deny him his camps. Because as you can see at the moment, top lane for me is not gankable whatsoever, since, well, he does have a kill, but that's probably because Jax inted, but Jax still has the massive pressure, and ganking here isn't an option. My only gank situation is mid lane, since my bot lane in this game is actually doing pretty well. They have a lead, and this is just straight 2v2, so that's pretty good for me here. But that means my option to gank is pretty much just mid lane. And that's just that. So if the mid laner isn't there or whatever, then I'm just gonna opt to steal Kayn's like camps, making him more useless, making it so that he has to come back into the game a lot more, making it difficult, really. So here I hit level 6 off of Kayn camps. Now, honestly, ideally I should have probably left one of the small wolves alive there. So that's a bit of a misplay there. If I left one of the small wolves and he would have come to find it, then his camp wouldn't have leveled up. So that's a bit of a misplay. But as you can see, the difference now in me denying this camp from him and then also denying these two from him. I'm level 6 and he's level 4. And this is where like a big difference starts coming in. And this is why you need to play like aggressive on Shaco. Also when it comes to invading. Your camps are more guaranteed, and if you invade the enemy, there's only more you can gain, really. Now, they can trade the camps back, of course, but that would only happen in, like, whatever situation that happens, honestly, so whatever. So I have a 2-level advantage here, I'm not that worried. My bot lane has the pressure, so they're definitely going to show up. And right here, we can look for a play. We can look for the dragon, maybe, but it just depends on what happens. I just see this as an opportunity to gank mid lane. Because, as I mentioned, bot lane really isn't gankable. Top lane, I mean, we're probably going to lose a 2v2 to Jax, let's be honest. Jax is a disgusting champion. It's not like Ryze and I have a lot of damage together early games for him to die. And if he pulls his ultimate, he just gets a lot of resistances, so that's also not ideal. So just let top be a farm lane, and I'm just going to go and opt to get Zed ahead. Now, if you get Zed ahead as well, if you have a mid laner like Zed, getting him ahead means that he will snowball through a game. So if I get Zed ahead, he can go bot lane roam and can maybe get a double kill without me even being there, and then my gank would have been effective through that as well. So a situation you're waiting for is just anything you can deceive over. You do not want to deceive like this, by the way. If you deceive this way, you will get spotted by the turret, so that's not going to be effective. So you need to deceive like right here, as you can see me do right now. So I don't get spotted by the turret, and right now I just place the box, this time out of turret range. She gets hit, spot by the boxes. I instantly hit her and then instantly clone, simply because of the Syndra ultimate. Now the clone increases your chances of living, because it just completely depends on who she Syndra ults, right? Because it's gonna kill you regardless. This champion is not fair when it comes to that. You just press R once and you just get killed. So in this case, she ults my clone, which is very good for me. And yeah, ults my clone, gets pretty much CC, like fair CC'd, and just a free gank. Like this is pretty much always a free gank on a mid laner like Syndra, simply since she doesn't have any mobility, and if she doesn't have her flash, which she used earlier to flash ignite me, you're good. Now I'm pretty sure I wanted to check if Scuttle was up, so I checked that. Isn't up. I do have my jungle item now, which is good. And I'm just gonna go and clear my camps again. And the good thing here is, again, my bot lane did pretty well. And yeah. I tried 1v1ing the Syndra here, actually. I'll go back and play this out slower. Now, usually, this should be a fine 1v1. You get the fear off and everything. However, it's still like a kind of, like, you can play with your clones, or like your clone a lot and everything. You have red buff for the slow, she doesn't have flash, she doesn't have ultimate this time, which is the main factor why I tried this 1v1. However, it's still Syndra and she still does a good amount of damage. So if I play with my clones a little bit better in this situation, because I kind of wanted to maybe like juke, but if I put myself here and then the clone to run, she probably would have targeted the clone more so. So that could have been a better play in that situation, but it's just like kind of whatever. At this point, as you can see, the Luden's proc in your E, once she gets low enough, does a lot of damage. The Ignite does kill her, but apparently at this point, she has enough damage with mainly the minion damage added to it and also the Ignite to 1-for-1 trade me. Which honestly, a 1-for-1 trade really isn't that bad, since Zed gets the push and maybe gets to get a plate or anything, or Kayn goes for a dragon and Zed gets to react to that. So a 1-for-1 trade, not the worst. I am not worried about a 1-for-1 trade at all. Now in this case, of course, the dragon's up and the Zed shows up. Now my bot lane is better, or like has more prio really, because she actually has finished the Infinity Edge. So they should never be able to get this dragon, even though that I did die. So I'm in base. Again, I mean, this play just kind of happens. Kayn is in the back, and off of just helping Zed, getting the kills on Syndra and everything, Zed's going to be bot lane and provide the extra pressure that I couldn't provide in this case. Especially after I just killed Syndra, so he should be fine. Now off of that, we can definitely easily opt to go and do this Drake. You can use your clone to tank the dragon. The main thing you want to do is just like path your clone a little bit forward and then pretty much have it in the face of the dragon, and then it hits your clone and you can just backstab the dragon and you're fine. You can also do it without the clone, but usually just using the clone is fine. You don't really have too much cooldown on it anyway, so you should be good. Another situation, Syndra is pushed up again, which means that, I mean, my objective is to gank her, right? So I'm just going to pressure her down. The Lulu reacts, whatever, Syndra dies. It's just a simple type of gank, really. And here again, Kayn goes in and also like gets... Actually, Soraka gets killed there for my E. And, oh, by the way, that's a small trick that I want you to know about Shaco Ultimate and that you can provide yourself, which is what I use it right there for. So I killed Syndra for my gank, whatever. The Shaco, again, here, or sorry, the Kayn here shows up. Now she heals, so she gets below a threshold where my E doesn't increase the amount of damage, so it's because it's an execute. And then here my Q is on cooldown for 8 seconds, as you can see. So how am I going to get over this wall? If you use your ultimate, you're going to pop out wherever your mouse cursor is. Like, you cannot close big walls, of course, but tiny walls like this, if you hold your mouse cursor right here and then press ultimate, you're going to pop over. And if you hold your mouse cursor right here and then press your ultimate, your clone's going to potentially pop over if you stand in that direction. So you stand this way facing that way, and then you hold your mouse here, clone's going to pop up there. So you can use that to like kind of deceive your the enemy team by just popping your clone over alone. And if you don't stand on vision, they might think it's the real one, so you can play around with that as well. But in this situation, I opt myself to go over here, so I have the potential to chase. Now in this case, that didn't really help, and I just placed a box there really because I have my clone here, and this is gonna die shortly anyway. So this clone is pretty much gonna kill the camp for me if I do have the problem still. Even though in this case, I don't think I will. But yeah, as you can see, boxes kind of clear the rest of the camp for me. I do see a Jax on low HP here, so I kind of just walk up, get a Dark Harvest Brook, and he dies from E. I also had Ignite, but didn't need it in that situation. Now on AP Shaco, the second one you want to max, if you didn't like max it or put a lot of points into it already, it's just your W. Obviously, for like obvious reasons, this is your AP Shaco, this is one of your main damage sources, so just max that second. And right here you see me just deny whatever I can, and opt to go and see what is up and what I can clear in my own jungle. Nothing really there, so it's whatever. I see the Kayn on the Rift Herald, and I was like, I could go for a play here, but the crucial mistake I made in this situation is my Zed was not mid lane, so the Syndra has prior to roam, which is a stupid mistake for me, and then also my Ryze wasn't there, so the Jax has prior to roam. This was just overall a terrible play for me. I should not have been in this position. That's a misplay, and he just gets, like, I should have just given him Rift Herald. There's nothing I could have done because of my mid and top not being there. So yeah, it's just a bit unfortunate, I suppose I can say. It's unfortunate, really, it's just me being stupid. Going on from here. Just, again, clearing whatever I can. I saw the Kayn top side just now, so I'm just gonna clear the red and check his bot side camps again to make sure that I keep denying him. Currently ahead in CS of a Kayn, which on Shaco is not common, not gonna lie, it's pretty rare. Tristana might not have been paying that much attention. But yeah. Right, so I mean, I'm just looking for whatever I can clear. Scuttle, blue, whatever I can deny from Kayn is going to be good. I'm going to kind of set up boxes, by the way. The way you want to play, again, the control mage aspect of this, just want to play boxes in situations where your teammates can play around them. Now, this could get problematic in lower elos, so if you're playing actually low elo and people don't really play around your boxes, then you're kind of forced into AD Shaco, but then again, if you're playing low elo, then AD Shaco becomes better, because it's going to be easier to snowball on AD Shaco, simply because ADCs just walk in random directions and just stand on the side lane with no summoners by themselves and asking for you to get a free kill or something like that. So AD Shaco lower elo better, but overall, if your teammates just play around your boxes, and you keep putting those boxes down effectively, then you will have a high impact because those boxes will do a lot of damage, especially with Liandry's. So as you can see me place those boxes in situations where they are likely to pass them, like here. Also do not want to place them in your main wave path, because that's going to hurt, because the minions are going to proc them. They proc my box here. I'll go back again, actually. But they proc, like, I'm just putting boxes in essential places. They go here, get proc. As you can see right there, the Kayn gets really low. And yeah, just boxes, executes with E. It's really the way you want to play. Just play slow. Don't go in the front line. Don't dive into the enemy team face first, because that's just not the way to do it. The only situation where you can dive in face first and, for example, just dive in, place the box down, and then ultimate, and then just press Zonias and watch your clone die in AoE teamfights. That could be good, but in any other situations, just play it slow. Try to walk your ultimate into it yourself while standing on a distance and just playing it safe that way. Now for AD Shaco, this is all completely different, of course, simply because on AD Shaco you just want to walk in with your Q. Of course, you can still use the boxes as like a fair net, I guess. So you can place them to control some spots, but the fair duration goes up the more points you put into your boxes. And on AD Shaco you max E and then Q, so your boxes are going to max last, and then the fair duration is going to be very short. So it's not going to be as effective. Your main objective then is just to use your Q, get in behind an ADC, one-shot the ADC, and then pop an ultimate, maybe one-shot something else, and whatever happens then happens. So just playing it slow, playing a pick type of style, and you're good. Looking for some camps to clear, really. You want to clear whatever camps you can here and there. Now you're obviously not going to prioritize your camps on AP Shaco as much, simply because your clear speed just isn't that great. Yeah. If you're forced to, then of course you're forced to, and then in that case you can pick up a Nashers, because then your clear speed's going to be a lot better, as well as your projectile control being better. But that's just a game dependent, really. So I get to my control stage here. I really wanted to opt for the control build in this game, simply because of the way their team works. So the Kayn, probably going red form Kayn, You see those more often than blue form canes, but either way, cane is easily be able to, like, you can easily kite that. Jax wants to jump in. If you can just CC them, fear them, be an annoyance to them, then that's the best way to go for this build. So that's why I went heavy control and went for the GLP alongside the CDR boots and everything, just to have kept CDR as fast as I can. Because as you can see right now, I have 45% CDR at like 18 minutes, which is not bad. Could be a little bit faster if I got a little bit more kills or whatever, but yeah, it is what it is. Right. So clearing vision, putting boxes down in the enemy jungle, seeing where I can be for a place to happen, and yeah, that's about it. So we see the Syndra show up here. The main thing to note here is Syndra's mana pool. She doesn't really have too much mana, so she probably will not have the damage to actually kill me. I go in here, I kind of waste my Glacial one on the minions, which is a little bit of a misplay on my part. I'm not sure what that was, honestly. Use my ultimate. Tristana luckily kills my ultimate, but then also like, exhausts and whatever they focus my clone in this case, which is very good for me. As you can see, my boxes actually do a substantial amount of damage to the Tristana. She does lose a good amount of HP. I use my box, place it in the brush, and I just wait for the fear to go off, really. Proc with Dark Harvest, use Q, box finishes Tristana. And that's just the disgusting control way of playing. Now in this situation there, I could have played it a little bit better if I didn't just waste my GLP into the minions, because that was pretty troll, admittedly. Nothing else to say about that, just don't use it in the minions. If I can use it for a better slow or whatever, that would have been better, obviously. Now here, just seeing whatever camps are up in his jungle again, and looking for a play. Kiting my clone into the team, whilst I'm more so standing safe. I'm trying to stay out of vision wherever I can, and just like right here you see me just stand out of vision and kind of just suicide. Well, I want to suicide my clone to them whilst they like kill it. So right here they kill it, she gets fierce, it actually takes a serious amount of damage, as you saw right there. That was mainly just from like the clone explosion in the boxes. She loses a lot of HP, so that was pretty painful and could have resulted in her dying if Jinx maybe had her ultimate up, or could have done one more auto attack or something like that. Yeah. Right there, that's just... Alright, the Soraka was coming in with a sweeping lens, and with that, I kind of, like, sweeping lens kind of counter Shaco a little bit, so I just jump in and try to one-shot him, and I do mistime the ultimate on the bomb explosion here. If the bomb is on you, and you time your ultimate properly, then you can dodge the bomb damage with your ultimate if you do time it correctly. You can also dodge Karthus ultimates that way, but in this case, I dodged it poorly, and I died to Tristana. So that's poorly, like a mechanical misplay on my part, missing my ult timing there by just a second, which, I mean, happens, honestly, it's just whatever. You see me building into Liandry's now and just going for more dragon / objective control here. When it comes to team fighting, by the way, on Shaco, if you're just on dragon, then you could stick on dragon, of course, but usually it's looking for situations to put your clone in positions where they can die in an effective spot, and then also placing good boxes and going in with QEs to execute people on low HP. So that's really how you want to play the team fights. Play it safe, don't just jump into the enemy team yourself. Always try to put your clone in there first or whatever. If you have Zonias, you can play a little bit more aggressive, but that's up to there. So yeah, we pretty much just win that team fight, get the dragon, and then off that we can go and do the Baron as well, which is pretty good. So right here, just Baron. Also, one thing on Shaco, actually stealing objectives like Baron and Dragon on Shaco is fairly good and fairly easy, because you can combine 2 Shift Poison with the Smite. This works like an execute, so if targets are low, it's going to do more damage, and then with the Smite, you're going to be able to execute for quite a significant amount of damage, resulting in a lot of objective steals, honestly. So that's something you can look out for. Right here, clearing some camps, getting my Liandry's on the base, and then looking for a team fight. Now I'm just looking to set up some boxes that my team could play around in situations where they might be useful. So like right here, this covers this exit / entrance for the enemy if they want to escape. This one covers this if my team wants to escape or like whatever happens. So just placing those boxes in positions where they can help your team is what you're looking for. And obviously you can poke with GLP or with your E or whatever situations you get, or maybe send an ultimate in. But as you can see, GLP already does a decent chunk of damage there. And you see just me placing those extra additional boxes here and there where I can provide my team with some coverage with them. And as you can see right there, the Syndra walks into one of the boxes I placed. this is a situation you're going to look for. She gets feared by the box. I instantly just jump over and just one-shot her really. And then obviously I use my ultimate to dodge the last bit of damage from her ultimate. Now if I use my ultimate a little bit faster, I probably would have dodged more damage. But yeah, it is what it is when it comes to that. If I didn't ult, I would have died to Syndra ultimate, so really. So again here, just placing boxes wherever I can in situations that they can help my team. And that's just how you want to play out the last team fights. Place those boxes, wait for opportunities for them to walk into the box. As you can see right there, Jax walks into it, dies, and just how team fights are played. Now Shaco's damage output is actually really high because these boxes are AoE damage and scale obviously with Liandry's as well. So usually it's not weird for Shacos or for AP Shacos to either have the highest damage output in the game or the second highest damage output in the game, because I believe in this specific game the Jinx had the highest damage output and then I was a very close second. So it's a very high damage build, and if you use your ultimates and boxes properly, you can easily hit high numbers with AP Shaco and you actually do a lot of damage, even if, like, especially if you're the only AP source, because then they won't really have any magic resist, so then the AP is obviously gonna go up the damage you deal. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Shaco, guys. If you guys have any questions on this, please make sure to put those in the comments below. If you have enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button as well, as this does help me out quite a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!